From a fling with a sex icon to a romance with his future sister-in-law and a failed engagement with his second cousin, King Charles's love life was truly scandalous. And that's without mentioning his messy marriage to Diana. The British royal was 33 when he exchanged vows with the late princess. Prior to that, the then prince spent over a decade looking for a suitable wife. Or was he simply enjoying his official bachelor status and insane popularity? Charles is said to have dated more than 20 women. The very first one was Lucha Cruz, writer and daughter of a Chilean ambassador. Their paths crossed in Cambridge when Charles was just 19. 5 years older, this pretty and intelligent lady stole the prince's heart right away. Their romance reportedly lasted around 3 years. Charles even introduced Lucha to his mother, the late Queen Elizabeth II. But there was never any talk of marriage. The prince was too young back then. What's more, his girlfriend was Catholic and the royal bride had to be Protestant. Somewhere in 1970, the couple broke up because of Lucha's religion. However, the two remained good friends, and Charles's ex actually played a crucial role in his love life. Lucha introduced the prince to her friend, Camila Shand. Needless to say, these two connected instantly. Their romance lasted over a year. However, a lot of people anticipated the split. First of all, Camilla didn't come from an aristocratic family. More importantly, Charles wasn't Camilla's first public boyfriend. She'd already had a long-lasting relationship with Andrew Parker Bowles. It was unacceptable for a potential royal bride. Royal tradition at the time dictated that any bride of a future king must be intact. Some people thought Camilla's romance with Charles was a rebound. And this seemed to be true, as, soon after Camilla broke up with the then prince, she tied the knot with Andrew. But even then, Charles struggled to move on. Allegedly, His Royal Highness felt lost and couldn't imagine having a serious relationship with another woman. So in the 1970s, Charles had a string of short-lived romances. Several of his romantic interests may surprise you. His Royal Highness had a crush on Barbra Streisand. He referred to the actress as devastatingly attractive and a woman with great sex appeal. He reportedly even had her photo on his wall. Charles took advantage of his time on duty in the US to meet the funny girl star. The actress says that they clicked instantly. The picture of their first meeting proves it. It captures a playful moment where Streisand is offering the future king a sip from her mug of tea. Once, Barbara received a bouquet of fresh flowers from the royal garden. She was told it was from a fan called Charles. In her new memoir, Streisand recalled spending the night at Highgrove House, Charles's residence. Barbara once jokingly said, "If I had played my cards right, I could have been the first Jewish princess." However, their relationship was only ever platonic. The actress said that she and the king chat over tea and exchange holiday gifts to this day. One more celebrity whom Charles was linked to was Susan George. This was a most scandalous fling in the royal family. Susan was a sex icon in the 1970s. She starred in Straw Dogs and Mandingo, movies that were famous for their very intimate scenes. The star was seen with the prince at dinners several times and was among the guests at his birthday party. The prince never publicly confirmed their relationship though, and when the media scrutiny began, the British heir seemed to be forced to distance himself from the sultry star. Yet Charles's romantic escapades didn't end there. He also briefly dated the wealthy heiress Sabrina Guinness, was linked to American author Jane Ward, and had a romantic relationship with the daughter of an Australian publishing magnate, Lady Kanga Tryon. Years later, when Charles settled down with Diana, Kanga was even labelled his other mistress. Their affectionate photos together seem quite telling. By the way, the women who went out with the British royal even got a common nickname, Charlie's Angels. His Royal Highness didn't find it difficult to attract all of these ladies.
He was always under pressure from his father, Prince Philip, to be a real man, to be a sort of James Bond figure almost. So he got the Aston Martin, he did military service, he learned to fly helicopters.
But above all, Charles was the heir to the British throne. It was his duty to find a suitable partner and start a family. At some point, the prince was strongly encouraged to pursue relationships with ladies from aristocratic backgrounds. One of them was Lady Jane Wellesley. She was the daughter of the royal family's friend, the Duke Arthur Welsley. Insiders described her as very attractive, spirited and open-minded. The couple dated for around 1 year. She was the first of Charles's girlfriends, whom the press speculated could be a possible future princess. Many experts say she would have made a wonderful royal.
I think Jane Wellesley would have been a very good queen. As it happens, I think she was sensible, she was intelligent, she was modest. She would have brought to the whole business of being queen much more than Diana did. She was a ticking bomb from the very word go.
And that was actually the problem in their relationship. The media followed Jane around everywhere, taking photos of the possible future queen and talking to her. She allegedly said it was a nightmare, and the intense media scrutiny was the reason why Jane didn't want to continue the relationship with Charles. When asked about it, Jane once replied, "Do you honestly believe I want to be queen?" There were tons of other women who actually wanted that role. For example, Davina Sheffield, daughter of the industrialist Lord McGowan. She was labelled the most attractive of all of Charles's girlfriends. The royal allegedly wooed her away from her boyfriend sometime around 1976. He once described her as the soulmate he was searching for, and couldn't hide his affection for her, even in public. After less than a year of dating, Davina and Charles seemed set for marriage. Davina was invited to Buckingham Palace to meet the royal family, and attended several official events with Charles. Davina's ex, however, apparently had revenge in mind. He told the press that he and Sheffield had lived in sin together. The scoop brought Charles and Davina's romance to an end. A royal insider said that the prince was devastated by the breakup. It was the same reason that the palace had used to reject Camilla as a suitable bride. However, the Prince of Wales had a deadline for finding the one. By the age of 30, he was required to get married. So the family found a new candidate for Charles, Lady Amanda Knatchbull, the granddaughter of Charles's godfather, Lord Mountbatten. Apparently, they were seen as the perfect couple. Amanda was already familiar with the royal way of life and didn't have an embarrassing background. What's more, Charles and Amanda's grandfather were incredibly close. The then prince described his Uncle Dickie as the grandfather he never had. So it was not difficult for Charles to grow close to Amanda. The two started dating and went on several trips together. Their relationship became so serious that the press started to chase Amanda everywhere and label her a future princess. And Charles actually did propose in the summer of 1979 during their trip to India. However, Amanda reportedly saw Charles more as a friend than a husband. Moreover, she was unwilling to step onto the royal treadmill, so the relationship ended. Now we move on to the most interesting part of Charles's dating life. In the late 1970s, he was introduced to Lady Sarah Spencer, the elder sister of Princess Diana. As you might have already guessed, she was another serious candidate for a royal bride. Charles was charmed with her outgoing sense of humour, and his family thought Sarah had the perfect lineage to become a wife to the future king. So, after just a few dates, Sarah was invited to Balmoral to meet the Queen. She reciprocated by asking the prince to visit her family estate for a shooting weekend. That's when Charles met Diana for the first time. Back then, he only noticed her as the younger sister of his girlfriend.
Well, I remember thinking what a very jolly and amusing and attractive 16-year-old she was.
As Sarah started spending more and more time with Charles, she gained more media attention. That's when she made a crucial mistake. She had a far too frank conversation about her relationship with Charles. Sarah told journalists that she wouldn't marry anyone she didn't love, whether he were the dustman or the King of England. This was taken as a confession that she didn't want to be with Charles. Reportedly, that was the first nail in the coffin of their romance. As we all know, Charles did eventually marry a Spencer woman. But it wasn't Sarah, it was her younger sister, Diana. Sarah reportedly took pride in the fact that she set them up and called herself a Cupid. In 1981, Charles's bachelor life ended and the world saw the grandest wedding celebration of the decade. And the rest is history. Stay tuned to get more details about the British royal family.